Good morning, everybody. We are headed out to a showing on this nice Saturday with it's raining and it's cold. And I want to get into, so I got some windshield time, so I want to get into something I actually learned this week. Now I've been in real estate, 7+ years, over 600 contracts, done, what I would say is probably done and seen 99% of what's probably going to happen in most contracts. But the fun thing about real estate is there's always something new. And when I say fun meaning like I get to learn something, but usually if I'm having to learn something, it is usually not in benefit of the client because it's something usually that's gone bad. And in this week, we ran into an estate situation with probate and a will in place that I had never heard of before. Was actually made a few phone calls to learn more about it because the more I know, the more I can convey to buyers and sellers about situations we can plan and prepare for, so we're not caught with like our pants down, as what some people may say, in a kind of an unknown situation. So real estate probate is different than regular probate, and I don't have like an exact bullet points or definition as to all the stuff as to why, but a lot of things have to happen when somebody's passed away that owned a real estate property in order for that property to be properly sold. And by properly sold, meaning like with somebody getting a loan and title insurance and it being above board. You can always go to the courthouse, do a quick claim deed, somebody give you cash. However, that person is going to end up in a terrible situation when the probate and everything is not done right. So I'm going to go right into what's happened this week. So I'm selling a piece of property, beautiful piece of property. We actually have a cash buyer on it, which is always great when it's a cash buyer because it's just less red tape a buyer has to go through in order to purchase the property. Now, this property was in a will given to the daughter, given to one of the daughters from the mother. The mother and the father own this property, and then the mother passed away. And in the will, the father's still alive, but I guess it was an agreement of the will. This property went to one of the daughters. There are 3 daughters, and in the will itself, the will was professionally done by an attorney. Which is where you get into attorneys in probates and wills. And I'm just going to give you from what I see, these people suck. They are terrible. They don't know what they're doing. They milk you full of money. They're not very responsive. They suck at community service. And they screw things up, such as this situation. And there's really no recourse for the people. And because I have other probate situations going on, and it's the same thing. These attorneys just suck. So, man, do your research. Talk to the attorney, set expectations. I need you to communicate. I need you to talk to the title companies, talk to the real estate agent. And also, don't charge me $100 to make a phone call. Literally I'm getting into a rant right now, but I have another client in a probate situation. The attorney charges them $100 to pick up the phone and answer a question to them. Insane. Ridiculous. But it is what it is. So, had an attorney draw it up in the will, 3 daughters, and the will addresses 2 daughters. So, and talks with the family and everything. The family, just due to choices of the 3rd daughter, basically disowned the 3rd daughter. And before the death and everything, before everything. Mother was obviously still alive when the will was put in place. For purposes of the video, let's just say again, drugs and terrible decision makings, and it happens, right? Families, this is a common thing in families is, somebody just makes poor decisions and the family disowns them. So in the will, it talks about the 2 daughters getting certain items. And in the will, it fully distinguishes and says this daughter gets this piece of land. Unfortunately, the mother passed away. And the daughter went out to the county, used the will, and got a quick claim deed, and owns the property. This was 2 years ago. So she's owned the property for 2 years on paper. This is where a lot of people don't understand this, and to be honest, I learned as well. So there was never probate opened. Probate was never opened. So therefore, if probate is not open, this is a key point, you cannot enforce a will. Probate has to get open to enforce a will, because basically that it essentially checks for fraud, right? It's making sure that the will was done, above board correctly, like, all right, we're back. So somebody trying to enforce a will that is like illegal, let's just say that for an example. So probate was never opened, but again, this is not common knowledge that people know what to do. It's a tragic situation. Nobody talks about it. I don't like talking about it, but I feel that it's something that we're all going to encounter at some point in our lives, and preparing for it is super important, as I've learned in all the information in it. But it is, the wills have turned out to be good. However, this is why I'm making this video. In the will, and I've learned this, it has to state, there being a third sibling, it has to state basically that third sibling is entitled to nothing. So the will doesn't mention the third sibling because they've disowned the daughter. So they've disowned her. And again, common sense, well, if they've done the will's legitimate, they didn't put anything in there, daughter don't get anything. Well, apparently that's not how the court system works. So because she was never mentioned, what they have to do now is they have to then basically enforce the probate situation. Now they have to serve and I might be making up some words and interpret a little bit, but from my understanding of what's happening now in the situation is that third daughter is going to get served papers that this property is being sold, and she has a right to come and essentially file claim for a certain portion of it, of the proceeds potentially. My understanding is if that third daughter does do this, that it will then go before, let's just say, a court, a jury, or a judge, and that decision will be made as if she is entitled to it or not, but it will greatly delay the process, red tape, attorneys getting involved, cost money, all these things. And the reason why she has the right to do this is because it wasn't explicitly said that the third daughter is not entitled essentially to anything or has been, disowned. I didn't know this. I had no clue, never heard of this before. Was news to me. I mean, you think a will put in there, it says who gets what. Well, if somebody doesn't get anything, you don't have to put them in there. Well, that common sense would be wrong in basically, I guess, the eyes of the law. So if you are doing a will, you at any point in your life as an adult, and you don't want somebody to get something, you should explicitly say them not to get anything. Otherwise, you may wind up in this situation. And so I'm just going to kind of like tell you what's probably going to happen here. Right? I'm talking to the seller she's just devastated because, again, they've disowned that sister. The sister is aware of the situation, and it seems like she is going to file the suit. So that's going to cost them money. And now she's like, well, do I even sell the property, right, for that? And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here. Do I even sell the property, or should I just, keep it? Like, what's going to happen here? And I don't have an answer for them. It's everywhere. It's unfortunate for everybody that's involved in this situation, how this is played out, because it was done arguably in good faith. An attorney done the will, an attorney screwed it up. How does an attorney, how's it supposed to do a will, not know the dang law of the job that they're doing? But again, I see this all the time. When it comes to this stuff, they really it just seem like it's the business model of milking the person dry. I think everybody should know this. Everybody should go and amend their will, or when you make a will, make sure you are talking about this scenario in there. If you're in a similar situation at all, explain it, because otherwise, your loved ones could be sitting here in this situation, and a person who you have disowned, don't agree with their life choices, could be entitled to, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, when it was not intended, and, the person you wanted to go to is facing the consequences because something wasn't done correctly. So I think this is probably one of the most impactful important videos that I've ever made when it comes to, you know, fine print and learning real estate stuff, because it was news for me to learn this. So I immediately put it in my notes, and this was yesterday before, and I wanted to share this immediately to you guys, because it's something that's extremely important. As always, though, if you have other questions, always happy to help. Y'all have a great day.